the big city on a beautiful September evening. The baseball season winding down toward its final 2 weeks for the New York Mets, and the goal now for all of the Mets, both the veterans and the younger players, is to finish the season strong. And Terry Collins trying to get the Mets on point as they move toward the close of 2011. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Washington Nationals. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling join me in just a moment as the Mets play Game 2 of their 4-game series against the Washington Nationals. The Mets have lost 5 of 6 on this homestand, and one of the problems lately has been a little inattention on defense. The Mets' defense have been pretty good for most of the year, but lately not so good. And, Keith, you wonder whether the long season and so many young players getting so much playing time has something to do with that.
Well, I think it's their second division ball club. They're playing it out. Terry Collins has sounded the alarm. He's concerned about it. Remember, it's something he stressed in spring training, and this ball club has made 21 errors in its last 19 games, and they've made 108 errors on the season, and only the Cubs have made more errors in the National League. So they need to kind of buff up on it a little bit, pay a little more attention to detail in the final 2 weeks of the season.
Dylan G will take the mound for the Mets tonight, and Ron Darling has been down to the bullpen watching G warm up. Ronnie?
Well, I'll tell you, I got some goosebumps down here. I haven't been here in a long, long time. But what was great about watching G come out, he didn't come out to about 6:35. At 6:45, he started throwing long toss. He had to change his position 2 or 3 times because of the pregame festivities. But by the time he got into the bullpen, he was throwing 90 to 100% of his full velocity. He started out with fastballs on the corners, then went to his great changeup, and then finally mixed in some curveballs. Went to the stretch with Dan Worthen imitating a hitter. He would throw balls to the corner with Dan Worthen nodding in assent that, yes, that is a great pitch. It's interesting to see G now battling those butterflies over confidence today and wondering if this is going to be a historic day or it's one he's going to have to really gut out. But on today here at Citi Field, may the force be with Dylan G.
Ronnie, it's obviously been a difficult second half for G after a brilliant first half. How difficult is it for a young pitcher to finish the year strong?
Well, I can only talk about myself. I started out very strong, 9 wins in the first half, struggled in the second half, got it back in September. So I think this really gives Dylan a chance to really rejuvenate, really finish strong in his last 3 starts, and maybe get to 14 or 15 wins.
So Dylan G will pitch for the Mets tonight. You see over at Ronnie's shoulder, Chen-Ming Wang getting ready to pitch for the Washington Nationals. Mets and Nats on a September night in New York. All the action coming your way tonight on SNY. Brought to you by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Bud Light Lime, the just right taste of Bud Light with a refreshing splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By your Tri-State Ford dealers. And by Mazda. Zoom, zoom. Follow the Mets with the MLB.com at Bat 11 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Check in using at Bat at Citi Field to receive special offers. Text at Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV, and you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. Night game tomorrow, day game Thursday. Don't forget Saturday's game is now a national telecast. Mets will come back home for the final 6 games of the year, 3 with the Phillies, 3 with the Reds, concluding with a day game on Wednesday, the 28th of September. 15 games to go in the season. Mets trying to bridge their way to October. 5 games under and trying to work their way up. First pitch coming up. Desmond and Danny Espinosa, the regular double play combination, back in there tonight after sitting last night against R.A. Dickey, who suffered a tough 3-2 loss. The Nationals on the heels of the Mets now in the National League East, just 2 games behind as we head toward the final 2 weeks of the season. Dylan G makes his 25th start of the year.
Well, you can see G 12-6, and his last outing against the Braves went 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. We talked earlier, victimized by an unearned run. I've had a lot of those lately, but it's been a bit of a struggle the second half of the season for Dylan. Got that tremendously hot start. He hasn't been as effective in the second half. Whether he's young and he's tired a little bit, I don't know. But first half he was a world beater. Second half's been a lot of lessons learned. And the Lexus Metropolitan defense, well, we talked about it at the top. And those errors right there. And just the fundamentals, too. An error cost them last night, but also the rundown between home and third base last night allowed the go-ahead run to advance into scoring position, wound up scoring, and that was the deciding run. So the attention to detail that man has really emphasized since the beginning of spring training.
Meanwhile, Davey Johnson last night managed his first game at Citi Field, a winner for the Nats.
Well, when he was in Flushing, his attention mostly was to winning.
Oh, you're back.
Hi, how are you guys? Nice to be here.
That's a long trek back from the bullpen.
You know, I didn't get to mention it there. I will tell you one thing I haven't heard in a long time, the pop of the glove from a major league fastball. Boy, that is nice to hear.
Ian Desmond leads things off. Desmond 0 for 2 last night coming off the bench. And G's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway. I thought that was a great view that we got of Dylan G warming up, and I thought the detail on his warm-up was fascinating, particularly when he talked about him having to change his warm-up routine in the outfield.
They were chasing him away, and he moved 3 or 4 times, but didn't bat an eyelash. The other thing that was interesting when G was out there, he started walking out at 6:35. He started throwing at 6:45 for the 7:10 start. Not a word was spoken between Worthen, Tolley, Racanello, G, nothing. And that's that's pretty cool. It's like, I'm just getting ready. Leave me alone.
Desmond pops one up over near the low fence. Tough play for anybody, and it lands a foul ball. Now, is that normal, Ronnie, that there'd be no conversation at all amongst the catcher, the pitching coach, and the pitcher?
I think it's another indication that everyone is different. Some people are very chatty Cathy because they're nervous. Some people, because they're nervous, can't say a word. I think G comes from that school. I honestly came from the same school. I didn't want to be bothered. I don't want a lot of minutia. I'm trying to get a big league hitter out in about 15 minutes. So just leave me alone. Let me get ready.
Now, the pitching coach is out there presumably for a reason. Is there a circumstance where if Dan saw something that maybe he would pipe in? On the outside corner, and Desmond down looking to start the night.
Well, it's a nice start, right, Keith, to be able to throw that ball on the outside corner on the black.
Right to the glove. Ron, you mentioned a while ago that Mel Stottlemyre warmed you guys up in the bullpen.
He did in between starts. Certainly not on the day of. What would happen is the bullpen catcher would catch you, and then Gary Carter would get out there about 5 minutes to catch maybe the last 20 pitches of the bullpen.
There's Rick Ankiel, 1 for 4 last night, has a 7-game hitting streak. So is there a circumstance where Dan might say something in the middle of that warm-up session?
Oh, I think it's so important for the pitching coach. If he's having a good warm-up, leave him alone. Don't say a word. But if he sees frustration, kicking at the mound, not bouncing the breaking ball, all those little things, then you will definitely go and put your hand on his shoulder, say, come on, relax, we're all right. This is a warm-up. This is not the game. So we're just getting loose, and it's all going to change when you get on that big league mound.
1-2 to Ankiel, and he's down swinging, and G begins the game with back-to-back strikeouts.
Well, all on fastballs away.
So 2 out and nobody on. Ryan Zimmerman, the batter, but the coach wouldn't be pointing out mechanical issues.
No, that's you do that in between starts. Once you get to your day, you're kind of on your own to kind of fix it and figure it out.
Ron, I have a question for you. When you warmed up, I've heard so many pitchers over the years go, geez, I had nothing in the bullpen. I don't know how I went out there and I threw a 3-hit shutout. Was your estimation of your stuff in the bullpen, when you felt good out there, did it translate into a good outing, or was there a pattern, a percentage?
Yeah, certainly not always, Keith. I think what happens as a ground ball here from Zimmerman is that younger you are, the more you put on your warm-up, the older you are, you don't care about it at all.
Great inning for G to start things off. Cheng-Ming Wang heads to the mound. No score at Citi Field. Jose Reyes fell out of the National League batting lead by going 0 for 4 last night. The Mets had 3 different players have double-digit hitting streaks come to an end last night. Not just Reyes, but Justin Turner and Jason Bay as well. Reyes leads off, hitting at .329, second to Ryan Braun, who starts tonight at .331. And Chen-Ming Wang throws the sinker low.
He's been pretty good. 8 starts. He's gotten into 6th or more innings for Wang 4 times. 2-time 19-game winner, 55 and 26 when he was a Yankee.
If you saw those numbers for lefties, .354 against Wang. And the other ugly number for Wang has been his first inning. In 8 starts, he's allowed 11 earned runs in the first inning. 4 of those against the Mets in his first start. And you'll remember, after giving up those 4 in the first, he gave up nothing else and wound up going 6 innings.
Well, we were talking about the warm-up guys. I will tell you, I came off an injury 3 different times in the offseason. Nothing like Wang has gone through. And when you come out of a warm-up post-surgery, post-traumatic surgery he had, it never feels the same every single time you go out there in the first inning as opposed to when you were a younger pitcher.
Reyes bounces one on the right side, and so Wang, who is a ground ball specialist, starts it out with a 4-3 put out.
Take a look at the Coors Light Washington National defense. And Desmond, a lot of those errors are like Wright over at third base. He's got a strong arm and doesn't have great control with it. And he made 34 errors last year, so it's an improvement, but still, that's a lot of errors made by a shortstop.
Here's Ruben Tejada. Justin Turner started at second base last night. Tejada was in the lineup Sunday night, had 2 hits. Ruben at .269 for the year, and he takes a strike. With that ground ball, Wang has now worked 45 innings this year and got 90 ground balls. That's amazing, isn't it?
Well, it's his career, 2.66 ground balls to every fly ball. That's a great number.
Into shallow right field and easy for Jason Worth. And quickly there are 2 out. Now, when Wang was with the Yankees, he could get away with throwing that sinker, what, 90% of the time?
Yeah. He's one of the few pitchers in baseball at that time could use one weapon to pitch the entire game. He'd throw occasional slider here or there, but just would bottom out that sinker and get ground ball after ground ball.
But now that sinker doesn't seem to have the same velocity, does he have to change appreciably?
His secondary pitches are going to be so important. He's going to have to get a changeup off that sinker. Look at that cap.
Someone's birthday. Probably hers.
And his breaking ball is going to have to be better.
Well, there was his stellar career with the Yankees, back-to-back 19-win seasons. And then the arm started to hurt in '09. He had the capsule surgery, similar surgery to the one Johan Santana had. And took him a full 2 years to come back.
Initially hurt his arm after he had hurt his leg running an interleague game.
Lucas Duda for 3 last night, hitting at .278. He strokes one toward left center. That's going to fall for a base hit. So Lucas Duda with a 2-out single. And the Mets have the first base runner of the night.
Well, sinker ball pitcher. He wants to come in, and that ball's down and away. And Lucas goes right with it. I mean, that's your approach if you're a left-hand hitter, and maybe 1 pitch or 2 in the at-bat, you can look inside as you become more familiar with Wang. But you know, as far as Lucas is concerned, if he's just feeling him out, your approach is going to be up the middle off the sinker baller.
Isn't the game changed though, Keith? 2-0 pitch. He wants to pitch inside. Yes, he missed outside, but that pitch is supposed to be 2-0 inside when you would think a power hitter like Duda would be looking in.
Here's David Wright, 1 for 3 last night, drove in a run, but just 5 hits in his last 30 at bats. Duda at first with 2 out. And David hits it sharply right down to Ryan Zimmerman, and the very ugly toss to end the inning. Well, I'll tell you what, Zimmerman, watching him throw, it's painful. Michael Morris will lead off against Dylan G. Morris 0 for 4 last night, but still 7th in the National League in batting at .307, 7th in slugging percentage. He has had himself a breakout season. And G works him away for ball 1. It'll be Morris, then Jason Worth, and Danny Espinosa for the Nats in the second. And a letter high strike with a changeup, 1-1.
Keith, correct me if I were wrong. You used to start sometimes with your hands far from your body, but then pull them back.
Not that far.
Okay.
That was an old wrist injury I had that forced me to do that in my right hand on my ulna with the wrist, really.
Yeah.
I pole vaulted off of a dugout under a eucalyptus branch, which were great pole vaulting poles, when I was like 8 years old, and I got my weight too far forward and I fell right on my hand and jammed my wrist, and it came back. I had an injury.
Driven to right, and Duda with a nice read. That's as good a play as Duda's made in right field since he moved out there.
I always think that Duda should probably play deep. It's easier to come in on a ball than it is to go back. And particularly with him playing right field here in the Mo zone with that concave angle going back, it's a real difficult right field. So I have no problem with Lucas where he's playing right now. That's a deep right field. Let him play it.
I just like the read he got on that ball, because sometimes he's been so hesitant, and that time he was on it right off the bat.
Well, I think what he did there, Gary, is he ran through the baseball. We catch him run, and then he tends to slow down like he's timed it right. Run through it, you can always stop.
Jason Worth, 3 out of 4 last night, hitting a .233 for the year.
Keith, did you ever play with a right fielder who was more hit than field? He would play deep, which would put a lot of emphasis on your second baseman, right? To make sure that he would go back on every kind of short fly ball.
Yeah, but in the course of a game, how many times are you going to have an issue? You know, sometimes it's only once, and it might be the 8th inning when the game's on the line, you know? So, sure, defense is always a part of it. I mean, shoot, it goes hand in hand.
2-2 from G is too high, and full count to Worth. Danny Espinosa, the switch hitting second baseman, waiting on deck. G's already struck out 2. Up the middle, and Worth has the first hit for the Nats. So a 1-out single for Jason Worth. He's now 4-5 in this series. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Partners Executive Transportation. Earlier tonight, Sergio Sanchez from Partners Executive Transportation throughout the ceremony of first pitch. Partners is the official ground transportation service of the New York Mets and SNY. Call them at 800-894-9414 or visit them online at partnersexecutive.com. Here's Danny Espinosa, sat out last night. It's an interesting rookie year for Espinosa. He's got 19 home runs, but hitting just .228, 149 strikeouts. And he pulls one. Tejada with a nice grab, gets the out at second, and that's all. That's the second out.
Well, you expect Tejada to get to this ball. The tough play and the aggressive play is the pivot and get the lead runner. Didn't hesitate.
You know, you just don't know how much those little plays in the course of a game can change the entire event. Guy gets on second, a little blue pit, you've already given up a run. Now you can get away with it because it wasn't a great play, but it's a play that you have to make.
Exactly.
Well, it's kind of like what Keith was talking about last night, where the Mets got the run down on Ramos between third and home, but allowed the go-ahead run to get to second. That winds up being the winning run of the game. If you handle that run down a little bit better, and it didn't have to be a lot better, just a little bit better, that runner stays at first, and maybe we're still playing. Chris Marrero 1 for 4 last night. Espinosa at first. He can steal a base. 14 steals this year. Killen throws a changeup to first.
He had the grip already.
Is everything okay down there?
I don't know.
No, it's loud.
Is that your son?
No, that's Big Al, the security guy.
Popped up. Playable for Evans in foul ground. And he puts it away to retire Marrero and end the inning. A hit and one left. Mets will come up at the bottom of the second. No score at Citi Field. Mets tickets, 4 vouchers for Nathan's Hot Dogs or Brooklyn Burgers, Nathan's French Fries, and Pepsi Soft Drinks. Get to Mets.com for your tickets now. Is that haze or fog or just barbecue smoke?
Barbecue from this afternoon.
There you go. I think we have a little fog blowing through the ballpark. Here's Angel Pagan leading off. And he takes ball 1 from Chen-Ming Wang. Pagan 1 for 3, a double and an RBI last night. Hitting a .265 for the year.
Well,
I don't know.
Is that really?
This is like Pacifica, Keith.
Really? I hear that.
Is that the marine layer coming through? 2-0 to Pagan. Willie Harris and Nick Evans to follow here in the second. Mets have lost 5 of 6 on this homestand. And most have been of the close variety. 1-run loss last night, an extra inning loss Sunday night, 1-run loss Friday night, 1-run loss in one of the doubleheaders on one of the games of the doubleheader Thursday. And you know, Terry Collins has spoken rather openly about his team being mentally tired at this time of the year. And you know, I wonder just how prevalent that is among teams that are not in a race in the middle of September. Slap toward the hole, and Pagan's got a base hit. So Angel, as the Mets' second hit, comes leading off the second inning.
Boy, I certainly know it's not that easy, but Angel Pagan, the way they play him, could get 35, 40 hits a year right in that hole, couldn't he? I don't know, Gary, talking about getting tired in September. I think you're mentally tired from playing on a team that's under 500. I know that, but this is when, you know, it's professional baseball, not amateur baseball, not little league baseball. You got to do your job and max out and try to max out your baseball card for that year.
And max out your chances of getting a job next year, which is true for so many of these players. As Willie Harris takes ball 1.
It's better to learn this early than late. Everyone's watching every day. in our food room tonight. Joe McElvain and his crew, must have been 8 or 9 scouts here. Every day there are eyeballs on you, evaluating you, see how good you are in September.
Joe Mack, the former Mets GM, was now the super scout for the Twins. Reyes and Pagan, the only teammates in the majors this year with 30 or more steals.
There's Joe. Good guy. One of the good ones. That was a great triumvirate the Mets had there up in that front office under Frank Cashin.
Al Harrison, the third member of that triumvirate.
Well, I think some scouts learn on the job. Joe Mack has been great ever since he started.
And you knew that Frank was Caesar. I was always wondered who was Crassus and who was Pompey.
Was there a Brutus?
Exactly. Gary, there's always a Brutus.
3-0 to Harris. And swinging 3-0. Hits one well out to right. Back to the track goes Worth. And just enough room to make the grab. So Willie Harris sprung loose on 3-0. Willie's only hit 1 home run this year, after hitting 10 for the Nationals last year, and he came up short.
Well, right down the pipe. Just got under it. Just enough. Nice angle right there. Nice shot. Oh, boy.
I love this new camera we've got.
Isn't it nice?
Wow.
Looking down on the outfield from on top of the scoreboard.
Our director Bill Webb is like Big Brother.
He never stops innovating, does he? I'll tell you what, whoever climbed up there to put the camera up, they might need the hospital for special surgery.
Don't look down.
Gosh. Speaking of which, our best to Jay Horwitz, who underwent successful surgery yesterday, and I know was watching the game tonight. I don't know if he caught the game last night. Double play ball from Evans right at Desmond, and Espinosa with the turn. Jay was in recovery last night. Now he's merely bored.
Already.
Our best to you, Jay. No score as we go to the third. Third inning brought to you by freescore.com. 3 credit scores, 1 place. Never get tired of that scene. Up.
Nope.
It's Star Wars night in the ballpark.
James Earl Jones.
Is that James?
I think his pay scale is a little high for this appearance.
Is that Princess Leia in the helmet? Very nice.
Is it?
I don't know. Her back is turned.
They're not supposed to be friendly.
Well, you know, it's 25 years later.
It's kind of age now.
Look at these kids. Isn't that great? Well, it's nice of the stormtroopers to, you know, to storm. Wilson Ramos at the plate, leading off in the third inning. Ramos, who continues to pound Mets pitching, 2 for 4 last night, 18 for 32 this year. It'll be Ramos, then Chen-Ming Wang and Ian Desmond in the top of the third. Wang still looking for his first big league hit. Lined, Reyes, one hopper, nice grab. Nice. The rest is easy to get Ramos. That's a tough one hopper for Reyes. Chris Carlin and Kevin Burkhardt have continued to trade places tonight. Chris is out near the Verizon studio with an Ask the Booth.
Well, go ahead and say it yourself.
Keith, you're the man.
It's Kevin from Fresh Meadows, guys. He's got a question.
I just want to know what you guys think about Dylan G and Capiano in our lineup next year, where they be and how they do.
Fellas.
Reyes throws out Wong for the second out.
Ronnie, you want to take that one first? G and Capuano. I think Capuano, I think, has been a great professional all season long. I think he's had some amazing games. Very, very consistent. A little less consistent the last couple of starts. I would certainly think long and hard about definitely bringing him back. And as far as Dylan G, you have a kid who's won 12 ball games. Okay, yes, it's been uneven in the second half. It's still 12 ball games on a team that's 5 or 6 games under 500. So some pitchers, they might not have all the stuff, but they're winners. And I think that's what Dylan G is. And he will be shooting for a shot in spring training. And I think it's going to be great competition. Open competition this year.
Well, I just think G's won 12 ball games. How many more starts does he have? He has 3 more starts. He could win 15. He's going to be in the rotation next year, bar injury. Capiano is going to be back, I feel, and you know, you need to have guys to fill the 5-man rotation. So I feel very comfortable. We'll be very happy to have these 2 guys back. I mean, please. Pitching is at a premium in the game today.
Well, the Mets are 13th in the National League in staff ERA, and clearly they're going to be adding a pitcher next year, a guy named Santana. Now, what Johan Santana is going to be, we don't know. Is he going to be a #1 type pitcher or some fraction of that? But do you believe that other than Santana, the Mets will not look for starting pitching in the offseason?
They'll look, but there's not a lot out there, you know. And guys that everyone coveted are having years that you say to yourself, boy, thank God I didn't give him the money. Guys like John Lackey and others.
Well, let's just take it a step further. What if you were GM Ronnie Gary, and then we'll come back to it, what would be your #1 hole to fill in the ball club?
Desmond strikes out. G's third of the night. He's off to a nice start. Middle of the third, no score. Leads off in the home third. Josh hitting a .261 for the year. Mike Nicky is caught last night. Well, Keith posed the question, what would be your top priority if you were Sandy Alderson? Ronnie, you want to take that first?
Wow. Well, I think we have to work backwards. Let's work backwards. Who are the people that are going to be here? Let's say Reyes is signed. Just for instance. Okay, so Bay is in left field. Your infield is right. Reyes, a combination of Tejada, Turner, Murphy, whoever they decide at second base, and Ike Davis penned in at first base. I think you need to think about your catcher. As Toley's up here, and I think you have to think about your arms in the bullpen. I don't think there's going to be as much room as Toley makes it out. I don't think there's going to be as much room in that starting rotation as you think if Santana comes back.
Well, these are the guys who are under contract for next year, and there are only 5 of them: Santana, Bay, Wright, Dickey, and DJ Carrasco at a much smaller number. You know, here's the way I look at it. Look at what the Mets have done this year with a decimated team, right? They lost probably their best power hitter for the last 5 months of the season. They lost one of their best players in David Wright for a third of the season. And yet, you know, Carlos Beltran's, 4 months with the team notwithstanding, Mets are 6th in the National League in runs scored. Offense has not been their problem. Now, defense, especially lately, is an area that they can certainly improve. And I think, catcher is going to be one of those positions that they've got to think about where they're going in the long run, not just in terms of a bat, but much more importantly in terms of a glove. And then it comes down to pitching. And I think this pitching staff has got to get better. Now, adding Santana, that improves the staff.
Yeah.
But they've had to figure out the bullpen. I mean, they've had some nice late season performances from, guys like Acosta. But who are you building your bullpen around? Is it going to be Bobby Parnell? Are you going to go out and get some relief pitchers? Again, I come back to this team is 13th in the league in staff ERA. The pitching's got to improve. G grounds out for the second out. Keith, what do you think?
I think, Gary, with 81 games in this ballpark, that you've got to build this team around defense and pitching. So I do think you have to look at catching. So what's your priority? What's out there? If to me, I'd want to really improve the bullpen, really get the bullpen better. That would be my focus. And I thought it should have been the team's focus the last 2 years too, is improving the pitching, not going for offense.
Well, 2 years ago, it was their priority after 08 and the horrible finish the Mets had because they had relief pitchers. They went out and got Frankie Rodriguez, and they went out and got J.J. Putz, and Putz obviously didn't perform for the Mets. He's having a great year in Arizona this year. But I don't know that bullpen problems are always solved by throwing a lot of money around.
No. Yeah, that's bullpen guys can be very interchangeable from year to year. The guy that has an amazing year sometimes does not have that same year the next.
The question is, I think, before anything else, when you're rebuilding the bullpen, and we'll ask you in the Toyota text poll, what do you think is the Mets' biggest need? Starting pitching, bullpen, power back, catching. Text 57508 and express your opinion. The question is, when you're trying to build a bullpen, do you have to, as Reyes has a base hit. So Reyes with his first hit of this series, 1 for 2 on the night, the Mets' third hit of the night, do you have to identify a closer before you can build your bullpen? In other words, the Mets have to decide going to the offseason if Parnell is their closer or Acosta is their closer, or if they have to go get a closer, or can they go into spring training and put that job up for competition and build a bullpen that way?
I think that's how they're going to do it. I think they're going to put it up for competition, and whoever, we heard Terry Collins talk about it, he says he believes that whoever wins that competition is probably the guy that should get that job and be able to handle that job.
Reyes has not done much running lately as Tejada takes a strike. In fact, Reyes has gone 13 games without attempting a stolen base.
I think the thing that you have to look at also, you mentioned they lost a lot of their best players. Today's game seems like every team loses some of their best players over the course of the season. So Turner, Murphy, depth, bench, that's important too. You have to have guys who can go in and play 15 to 20 games in a row, and you don't lose too much.
Tejada hits one toward the middle, but there's Espinosa to make the play, and that retires the side. A hit and one left. We go to the fourth at Citi Field. No score. Fourth inning, Rick Ankiel leads off against Dylan G. G's allowed just one base runner over the first 3 innings, and he struck out 3. Ankiel fanned his first time up, started the night with a 7-game hitting streak. G being very aggressive early, a lot of fastballs early in this game. And thus 9 of 11 first pitch strikes.
Well, I think he feels pretty comfortable against this national team so far. His career.
Well, the last one against the Nats was not particularly good. That was down in D.C. 10 days ago. He gave up 6 runs in 5 innings, but all his prior starts against the Nats were great, particularly his major league debut when he threw 5 hitless innings to begin his career. A little pop up from Ankiel. Totally coming back, but it's out of play.
Boy, it's amazing how little room there is behind that plate. When it left the bat, certain out, it looked like to me, after a good cutter there from G, but into the stands.
What's it, about 45 feet?
Yeah, I mean, how many P2s do we put in our scorebook all season long? Less than 5.
Well, when we do, they're usually over near the on-deck circle, not right behind the plate. Well, Keith has sat down in that front row. That's about as close as it you get anywhere.
It's a nice seat. There's no question.
Tejada feels the grinder and throws out Ankiel one away.
If there's a guy not talking in your ear, it's a good seat.
Yeah, I hear you. But you can always get up and leave.
That's right.
Which I did.
Well, did they at least offer you their beers?
No.
Well, that wasn't very nice. Not that you would have accepted while you were working.
Gave him a photograph, let him take a picture, and he started getting greedy. Exit stage left.
How much of you can they take? Right, Zimmerman takes the strike. Zimmerman bounced to short his first time up. And the curveball in for a strike, 0-2. Well, it's Star Wars night, it's Filipino Heritage night, but it's also knitting night at Citi Field. I kid you not. Last year, they set a record for the most people knitting at one time.
Really?
It was a Guinness record, and they're going for a little larger group tonight.
I don't know if it's the same now, but when I was a young boy, everyone in my family, there was a lot of people that knit. I mean, that's, they'd knit you those comforters and quilts and all those things.
Well, even the knitters are true to the orange and blue.
There you go.
I want to know where those folks are sitting, because I hope it's set back enough from the field, because it's very hard to catch a baseball with a knitting needle. By the way, there was some crocheting going on there too. I don't know if that counts toward the record. Here's the 1-2 from G, and Zimmerman is down on strikes. And Dylan G roaring along. That's his 4th strikeout as he blew one by Zimmerman.
Fastball up and in and tied him up.
You know what's interesting, Keith, with that big leg kick? Now I understand when these hitters say they don't get their foot down, because he did not get his foot down in time to take a proper swing at that pitch.
Well, that's getting your foot down. That's Michael Morris, of course, with that. Oh, look at that technique.
Oh, she's doing both, though, Gary. See, she's watching the at-bat.
She got her foot down.
See, good knitters can knit and look away.
Multitask. Very nice.
Did 1, Pearl 2. Morris lined out to right. A nice play by Duda his first time up. One of only 3 outfield putouts in this game of the first 20 outs on both sides combined. So both Wong and G have been in charge. He made his debut for the Mets a year and a week ago. That number in college, very similar to Bobby Parnell. He didn't enjoy much college success, but he certainly has had a terrific pro career so far, going for his 13th win tonight. Gets the Nats out 1-2-3. Duda set to lead off.
The pitchers duel between Chien-Ming Wang and Dylan G thus far, and Lucas Duda leading things off. And I had the chance to talk to Lucas about this transition to right field earlier as he immediately lines one into left field for a base hit as if on cue. we're talking about what he needs to work on, the number one thing he needs to pick up, and that is the ball off the bat, the reads immediately. He says, I'm not the most fleet of foot, but I need to learn how to read. So I asked Willie Harris about it, and he said, being an infielder, going to the outfield, the reads are going to come in time, but he needs to learn two things. Number one, he needs to learn the angles off the bat as they come for both lefties and righties, especially the righties slicing away. We saw that with Michael Morse back in the second inning. But also, Willie learned this from Andrew Jones. The first half step has to be back because that gives you many, many options in terms of how you're going to play the ball, and it gets you a jump if you're out in front, guys.
That's interesting. I never really heard that before, that your first half step needs to be back.
I've never heard that either.
No.
The good outfielders that I've been around, the Mets used to have a coach who used to catch balls in the outfield with his bare hands. Kenny Berry, I think was his name.
Right. Great outfielder.
Unbelievable.
In the American League, yeah.
And he used to say that the most important thing is he would look at the angle of the bat, how his pitcher threw, if you could read what the signs were, you know, change up, more apt to pull, all those kind of things. He would factor all those things in and help him with that jump where he's going to go.
Center fielder has the best, really the best angle to see where the ball's hit. Much like your middle infielders in the infield, they have the best view of the hitter and can really anticipate where the ball is going to be hit. The corner outfield positions have a tougher time.
Well, also the center fielder sometimes can read the signs, and if he can he somehow relay them to the corner guys, or are they basically in the dark?
I think they're too far away and in the dark.
Yeah.
David back with a new bat and takes the breaking ball for a strike.
You know, there's simple things. If you play right field, there's a right-handed hitter up. If he hits a ball over your head, when you go back, the ball is going to tend to work towards foul territory, always.
Boy, I tell you what, if a center fielder that far out can read a sign, he's got some serious eyes.
See, now Ankiel plays deep. What Willie Harris told Chris came from Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
Andrew used to play 10 feet behind second base.
Right. It was like Victorino, same.
Right. I mean, Andrew Jones, you know, before, you know, the last couple of years was the best center fielder of his generation. A good guy to learn from, but, you know, it's just such an incredibly instinctive player out there. Sometimes those aren't the best guys to learn from.
He was like the natural.
Right. 1-2 to David Wright. Hits it well to center, but right at Ankiel, playing deep. And due to back to first, one out. So who are the best defensive outfielders in the game now? If you had to take a player that you'd like a young outfielder to emulate, you know, at each outfield position, who would those guys be?
Boy, that's a tough question. I just recently saw him play a month ago, and I watched him play 2 games out of 3. And still to this day, Endy Chavez, who was playing center field for Texas, still gets as good a jump as any outfielder I've ever seen and makes difficult plays look easy. Now, he's not the entire package, but defensively, still the same.
There's a strike to Angel Pagan. I think Victorino is fantastic.
Yeah, Victorino has got to be top of the charts. He just patrols and gets the ball so easily.
You guys like Austin Jackson for Texas?
For Detroit.
Sorry, Detroit.
I haven't seen enough of him to really know. But what about corner guys? I mean, Jeff Francoeur to me is state of the art still in right field. I don't know if there's anybody better than him.
Bay's pretty darn good in left field, I'll tell you that. You know, you got Torrey Hunter playing some right field now. He's been slowed a little bit, of course. I thought the kid from Seattle was going to be outstanding. He has struggled so hard with the bat. Franklin Gutierrez. Yeah.
What about Ichiro? I mean, he's probably faded a little bit, but there was a time when certainly nobody had a better arm.
He has a great arm. I've seen Ichiro play probably a half dozen games. You know, I'm going to get a lot of hate mail. I'm not very impressed with his effort and his hustle in right field. He's got a great arm, though. I will give him that.
1-2 to Pagan, who slapped a single the other way his first time up. And it's on the inside corner. And Pagan is a strikeout victim. A very rare strikeout for Chien-Ming Wang, who has struck out 2.5 batters per 9 innings.
Well, he's just running up sinker after sinker. That was right down the middle.
I think Matt Kemp, we have to talk about, because his defense has improved from a season ago. And how about Andrew McCutchen? You like him in Pittsburgh, don't you?
But again, more center fielders.
Yeah.
I'm trying to run down in my mind the left fielders in the game right now. And there was always Kevin McReynolds and Barry Bonds and guys who were just outstanding left fielders. And you mentioned Jason Bay, who's a nice player. Brett Gardner certainly does a nice job with the Yankees.
Yeah.
But you don't have those standout left fielders. At least none are coming to mind right now, other than those two guys. Willie Harris playing left field tonight. Jason Bay, by the way, banged his shoulder making a dive on Sunday night, and Terry Collins took him out of the game late and was going to give him the day off last night, but Jason wanted to play because there was a lefty going. So with that shoulder still a little sore, he's sitting out tonight. That's why Harris is playing left field. Toward the hole, and a base hit for Harris. Duda goes to second and stops there, and the Mets have 2 men on.
Gary, I was thinking of a couple of young players on the top of my head. Desmond Jennings is going to be a star in Tampa Bay. He's a good defensive player, and he plays right field now. But I thought Carlos Gonzalez, when he was in left field, was a good player. And the guy Gerardo Parra for Arizona is a good defensive player.
And the other guy we didn't mention is Carl Crawford.
Oh, geez.
Obviously an outstanding left field.
He's muted with the field he plays at.
Well, but he plays half his games on the road, and he still can use his great speed out there.
But you said it, Gary. We don't see them enough with the 3 divisions. We've only got them coming in for 6 games a year, and before you'd see them for 12, and double the amount out of division when there was 2. And it's hard to make a valuation on 6 games. Seeing a guy play 6 games a season. I don't care if you've seen him for 10 years.
Yeah. Nick Evans up with 2 out of 2 on. Scoreless game, 4th inning. Nick bounced into a double play his first time up. And Wong behind 2-0.
Yeah, if you only want to go by series, then Troy Tulowitzki, Mark Reynolds, and Wilson Ramos are the best players in the National League. Right?
Over the last 2 years.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good, Ronnie.
Duda at second, Harris at first with 2 out. Mets now have 5 hits off Wong, all singles. Three 3-0 now to Evans with Josh Tolley on deck. Well, Harris swung 3-0 earlier in the game. Evans takes a strike, 3-1.
Well, you would think on paper, on a computer, totally on deck, this would be a tough matchup for Evans because he's more of a high ball hitter.
.31-year-old Chien-Ming Wang in his comeback year. Strike. A high strike from C.B. Buckner, 3-2.
I don't understand why you would take 3-1 when you got a guy out there that's basically throwing predominantly fastballs.
The runners get set to go. Duda and Harris with 3-2 and 2 out. And Evans strikes out. 2 strikeouts in the inning for Wong. That's a rarity. And the Mets strand a pair. After 4, no score. G and Chen Ming Wang matching zeros. Yeah, we were just talking here during the break after watching Nick Evans take this 3-1 fastball.
No, 3-1 fastball meant on base, Gare. Runs ducks on the pond, and you know, you work for a 3-1 count. He pressures on the pitcher to throw a strike, and he's more apt 3-1 if he doesn't want to walk a batter to throw one down the, you know, a nice pitch to hit like that one was.
I think, you know, this is not an indictment on Nick. I think what was shown here is that I asked Keith in the break, I said, am I such a dinosaur that on a 3-1 count, you know you're going to get a fastball, there's people on base that taking that pitch instead of making an attempt at it is more important.
Reyes throws out Worth, 1 pitch and 1 out for G. Well, I think that what has happened in the game, and we've seen this all year and really for a long time now.
Yep.
You know, you've seen more 3-1 fastballs taken for strikes than I think we've ever seen before, because the mantra from every organization and every hitting coach is to work counts, and the emphasis is on on-base percentage, which means that they want hitters to draw more walks. And I think, and you guys can speak to this better than I can, I think in some respects it's made hitters a little more passive than they used to be in RBI situation.
Well, I just think that you have people making decisions in the game now that have never played. They're number crunchers, and there's nothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with those kind of people in the front office. But you can't tell, if you've got a leadoff hitter like Ricky Henderson, and you're going to tell him to take and work counts when he's a 300 hitter. Now, if you've got a guy that's a 230 hitter hitting 1 or 2, okay, maybe he can take more. But if you've got a good hitter, you don't want to take away 2-0 and 3-1 with him.
When I look at it, you work a count, but when do you pounce? Yeah, you can work any count you want, but if you work at the 3-1 and you get a fastball with runners on base, you have to pounce. That you have got the advantage.
Up the middle and a base hit for Espinosa. So the second hit off Dylan G. And I think it goes deeper than that. I think that, you know, baseball's always been a situational game. And of course, on-base percentage is an incredibly important statistic. And over time, the teams with the highest on-base percentages will score the most runs. But situationally, and I think this at bat for Evans was a classic example. It's first and second. It's 2 out. The number 8 hitter is on deck. You get a 3-1 pitch to hit, and the 3-2 pitch is a less hittable pitch, and you wind up striking out. Now, even if he draws the walk in that situation, now you've got the bases loaded, which is great, but you've got your number 8 hitter coming up, as opposed to taking a shot at a pitch that you have an opportunity to drive in a run, and in this case, give your team the lead. And I just wonder whether the last few years, as Espinosa takes off, and Toley's throw right on the money. A beauty by Toley to get Espinosa for the second out.
Well, nice throw by Josh right here. No wasted motion, and he's out by a mile. Gary, now
I just wonder whether the years of this mantra have changed the way hitters approach their at-bats.
You know, and I just want to say one thing, and I think it's important. You know, Nick Evans, 3-1, may have looked middle in because it's a sinker ball pitcher. Sinker ball pitcher. He may have wanted the ball middle in, and the ball was away. It was up. Yeah. And so maybe, you know, if you're looking middle in, fine. So we're not indicting Nick here, because only Nick knows his approach there, what pitch he was looking for, what area. But another point, Gary, first time you face a pitcher the first at bat, okay, you get up, if you've seen all his pitches. I see more guys as a base hit to right field right there, line drive by Marrero. I see more guys the second, third time up off the starter take a fastball first pitch. If I got a pitcher out there that's got good stuff, and got a good curveball changeup, I'm not going to go deep in the count off a guy like that can throw a curveball or in a changeup and has good stuff. If he gives me a fastball first pitch, I'm one pitch out of the box. I'm covering the plate.
Maybe there's a reason why guys like Halladay, Felix Hernandez, and Lee, they're the anti-on-base percentage guys, because they pump so many fastballs, so many strikes, that you are not going to work the count. You're going to swing the bat, brother, and that's what they do.
That's the way it was with Maddox, too. You know, teams would get an 0-1 hole first time through the order. Second time through, they all up there swinging at the first pitch. You know, and here's another point. You know, we're talking about taking a 3-1 fastball. We'll take the Mets as an example this year. When the Mets have put a 3-1 pitch in play this year, their batting average is .313.
Well, certainly.
When they put a 3-2 pitch in play, it's .234. That's an enormous difference. G gets another ground ball. 2 hits in the inning, but G and Wong still in a battle halfway through. Tomorrow's Mets Nationals game with insider info and live reports. Plus, hear the debate as they discuss this week's Jets and Giants matchups. Loudmouths every weekday at 6 p.m. only on SNY. Here's your Delta Keep Climbing 5th inning recap. All pitching tonight. Dylan G and Chen Ming Wong hooking up in a dandy as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Boy, I'll tell you what, this new camera on top of the scoreboard is providing some fantabulous views tonight. I love that overhead of the Shea Bridge and the bullpens. That was just stupendous. Josh Tolley grounded to short his first time up. And he socks the first pitch out to left center. That's a base hit, and it'll go back to the wall. Tolley has the first extra base hit for either side. His 16th double of the year.
Well, what did I say? First ball, fastball hitting. I mean, come on. You're a left-hand hitter. That's what Wang's going to do. And you got it up. Makes a mistake, and you got a leadoff double. These not at pitches up and away, going right with it. Nice pitch to hit. Belt high.
So the Mets looking to break the ice. Have a runner at second with nobody out. And Dylan G up there to bunt. We'll see how the Nats play it. G grounded out to third base his first trip. And they play straight up, and G takes a strike. Dylan has 7 sacrifices this year to go with 5 hits.
And Espinoza at second base is vacating his position way too early.
We've seen a lot of second basemen do that this year, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And it's September, but keep an eye on him. See if he does it again. He's not doing it this time. Someone must have told him. That's much better.
Ball and a strike to G.
All it takes is just a little more effort. You got to run a little bit harder to get to first base.
Later and harder.
Well, you know, 99 times out of the 100, you have the pitcher who's running, so he's staying in there an extra beat before he runs. So you've got all the time in the world.
G fouls off the bunt attempt, and now he's in a 1-2 hole. I'll tell you one thing that the Mets have got to do next year. In addition to pitching better, their pitchers have got to handle the bat better. This has been a very, very poor year for Met pitchers, both hitting and bunting.
And you look around the league and the teams that are at the top of their division, the Phillies, the Brewers, Diamondbacks, they all have real good athletes who pitch and bunt and can hit.
Well, it's all about helping yourself, right, Ron? That was the terminology.
Especially in a game like this.
And G strikes out trying to bunt. Third strikeout for Wong. It's a real disappointment, I know, for Terry Collins. It's something, I mean, he's had them out there for bunting practice on multiple occasions, and Terry has, you know, thrown the pitches from 20 feet away and really challenged them to improve their bunting, but it's just not been good.
When you bunt to third base, there's an impetus on you as a pitcher to get as close to the plate as you can, because that ball on the outside corner you can't reach, and that's what happened to Dillon right there.
So now Reyes is 1 for 2 tonight, has his average up to 330, a point behind Ryan Braun. And he slaps one foul.
And there's a Reyes attacking the first pitch, and that's the sinker upstairs. See, when a sinker's upstairs, there's no sink. It just runs flat away. It stays on the same plane. It's like it runs to the good part of the bat. Boy, you can get a beat on it. It's very nice. Thank you very much. Please do that with the bases loaded.
Change up from Wong. Well, there's the Mets on base percentage this year. They're second in the league. Not as high in runs scored, and you know they've left the most runners on base of any team, but they've also, you know, they're 13th in home runs.
Yeah.
And Reyes hits one up the middle, pass to diving Desmond, base hit. Here comes Tolle, the throw by Ankiel, and Tolle is out. Rick Ankiel, the best outfield arm in the National League, does it again.
Well, he's got a cannon. And Reyes, I think, on this play has got to try to force the cutoff. And that's way overthrown. He should be on second base.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Worth was playing center field last night. They switched him because Worth is not 100%. And Ankiel in center field, very difficult to send the catcher Tolle when he throws a strike from 290 feet.
I know they don't knock anybody down anymore, but there's a classic play right there where you can knock the catcher into the next county.
Well, we saw Ankiel make a flat-footed throw on a backup play in right field in Washington on the last trip. And another impressive throw tonight. It's hit the other way, a base hit for Tejada, the Mets' third hit of the inning. Reyes pulls it at second.
You know you're going to get fastballs off of Wang. That's a little inside out here. Ball down the middle that he plays the other way. And that's what Ruben does well anyway.
By the way, Reyes with that last hit is now back in the lead over Braun in the National League batting race. It's going to go on for the last 2 weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, good. Of course.
Back and forth. Braun right now at 3.3072. Reyes at 3.3130. Duda's 2 for 2 tonight. Single to left center, single to left. Stormtroopers and Chewy.
They got Chewy under arrest.
Except that's not John Roush.
Good luck he's not playing with the Nats anymore.
Roush is in Toronto, right?
Yes, he.
By the way, speaking of Toronto, they're playing the Red Sox tonight. 5-4 Blue Jays in the fourth as the advisory is out in Boston to keep the fans off the bridges. Two balls and a strike to Duda. That's Wakefield again trying for his 200th win tonight for the Red Sox. Bautista has his 42nd home run of that game for the Blue Jays. It's Wakefield's 8th crack at 200. Wow. He may not get another. 2-1 to Duda with 2 out of 2 on. And Wong misses inside. Now it's 3-1 with David Wright on deck. The Mets now have 8 hits off Chien-Ming Wang in 4 2/3 innings. But they've yet to crack the scoreboard. Ankiel making sure of that here in the 5th.
Interesting. You see that 3-1 count. Wong took a little look in the on-deck circle to see who was there.
And Duda cracks one into right field for a base hit. Reyes around third, and it's booted in right by Worth. Reyes scores. Tejada to third. He's trying to score. The relay throw to the plate, not in time. 2-0 New York. Lucas Duda breaks the ice, and Worth's error brings in an extra run.
Nice hitting by Lucas. 3-1 count. Right down the middle. Nicely done. Worth trying to get rid of it. Just misplayed it. But it's got to realize it's Reyes. Tejada hustling on the backside. He kind of hesitated there for a minute to make sure the throw was home, and nicely done by Chip Hale.
So a single for Duda, his 3rd hit of the night, an RBI. 2nd run scores on the air. And it's 2-0 New York. Steve McCatty out to the mound to talk to Wong, who's up to 65 pitches on the night. Remember, this is only his 9th start since coming back from major shoulder surgery. For Jason Worth, that's his 7th outfield error of the year.
I honestly don't know what he was thinking about. I mean, he's not going to have a play at home. Reyes is running. Play that conservatively, and you get Tejada at third.
How about this? Spread Stamina's up in the bullpen. How about the idea that Worth just saw Ankiel throw out a runner at the plate, and he's thinking, I can do that. I'm going to top him.
By the way, he can't.
I know. I understand that. But seriously, from an athlete's perspective,
competitive level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's your Coors Light freeze cam.
Hey, the ball's hit hard, though, and you're going to come in as an outfielder. Reyes could trip and fall.
Yeah, you're right about that.
So you throw home aggressively and make sure you hit the cutoff man.
Meanwhile, let's go back to what you said, Ronnie, about Wong giving a little look to see who's on deck.
You know, he only knows what he was thinking, but he gave a little peek. He saw right over there, and my thought was he's going to give Duda a pitch to hit. And Lucas was ready.
Wright is 0 for 2, and it goes to the backstop. Not a very good effort by Ramos there, and Duda's in second base.
Virtually no footwork. 0 footwork.
It's a wild pitch charge to Wong, but nonetheless, you got to do better than that.
Yes, I would think.
So now Duda's in scoring position with 2 out. 2 runs already home here in the 5th. And David bounces one foul. 1-2. Wright bounces another one foul. Broke his bat on that last swing.
That's 2 bats already to Wong.
Well, he's just staying in David's pots and pans, running that sinker on his hands. See the pitch count.
Easy the first 2 innings for Wong, despite giving up a couple of hits, but Mets continue to attack. 4 hits in this inning and 2 runs home. Now the 1-2 to right, and the breaking ball misses inside. That's a big curveball from Wong. I don't think we've seen that before.
Missed inside. Oh, we'd be screaming on the bench. Stop begging.
Throw another one.
David playing pepper with the tarp. It's 3 of them in this at bat.
Well, he's been able to get that pitch on the inside corner, running in, and really for David, there's no keeping that ball fair.
Pagan would be next. Chien-Ming Wang pitching in New York. In the city of New York, Chien-Ming Wang has a 30-13 lifetime record. He was 29-11 at the old Yankee Stadium. Never pitched at Shea. 0-2 at the new Yankee Stadium and 1-0 here. Seventh pitch coming to right, and he struck him out with a slider. So Wang fans right to end the inning, his 4th strikeout, but an entertaining inning. The Mets had 4 hits in the inning. Tolley got it started with a double. Reyes with a base hit, but Ankiel with a great throw to get Tolley at the plate. But then Duda's hit and Worth's error bring home 2. And the Mets out to a 2-0 lead. Tom as he goes out for the 6th inning. Alex Cora, the former Met, pinch hits for Chien-Ming Wang, and he takes a strike. Cora hitting a .221 on the year. Ian Desmond and Rick Ankiel to follow here in the 6th. Dylan G bidding for his 13th victory of the season. If he gets it, he'll be the first Met rookie to win 13 games since the historic rookie season turned in by Doc Gooden in 1984. Doc won 17 and set the rookie strikeout record. Set baseball on its ear.
He did.
Whose strikeout record did he get that from the American League?
Herb Score.
That's right. Cleveland.
There's the all-time list of rookie winners, and Mr. Darling's on that list.
Very nice, Ron.
Strike 3 called. Cora out on strikes. That's 5 strikeouts now for Dylan G. 1 out of the 6. Time for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break, and Kevin Burkhardt is standing by. Kevin. By the way, I think we established tonight that Kevin is Valentine and Carlin is Winthorpe.
Oh, okay. Okay, good.
off the plate. It's 2-0 to Desmond. Craig Stammen up again in the bullpen for the Nats. Look like they'll be coming out of the bottom of the 6th. You know, Winthorpe obviously has a rough time of it, but he gets the grill in the end.
That's right.
Shallow right field, a long run in for Duda, who got a late start. He's not going to get there. Well, there's that half step back, and that's not a good thing when the ball's in front of you. And Desmond has himself a pop fly single.
And you're right, his first break was back.
Right now, that seems to be the toughest play for Lucas.
When you are a new outfielder and you don't want to make a mistake, your first move is always back. It's always conservative, not aggressive.
So here's Ankiel, who made that great throw from center field. 0 for 2 tonight, struck out and grounded out.
But there's almost like a baseball axiom. The more you try not to make a mistake in this game, the more the baseball comes to you, or seems to anyway.
Yeah, usually the guys that struggle defensively don't want the ball hit to them.
Change up from G, and it's 1-1.
What did Tommy Lasorda say? What does he say before he goes to sleep every night? He prays that his family will be fine and they'll be happy, and that in tomorrow's game no one will hit the ball to Steve Sachs.
Saxitis.
Where Steve Sachs had famous throwing problems with the Dodgers, much as Chuck Knobloch did with the Yankees. Ryan Zimmerman on deck, who's having throwing problems of his own. I mean, we haven't seen him really throw any away. I mean, Sachs and Knobloch would throw the ball into the stands. Zimmerman just seems to have trouble getting rid of it. Almost more like a catcher who has trouble throwing the ball back to the mound.
I think Zimmerman is related to his oblique injury. I don't think it's fully healed. He's not swinging the bat with the authority that I've seen him in the past. I've seen some fastballs getting blown by him that shouldn't happen.
1-2 to Ankiel, missing inside. I don't know though, Keith. When he has to rush a play, he seems to throw the ball fine. It's when he has time to think about it that it seems to be a problem.
He has time to maybe to favor it more. Maybe when he rushes, it hurts.
Yeah,
he made that throw from his knee last night with no problem at all.
Yep.
He still puts a lot of air under it. When he first came up, he used to have a bullet for an arm.
I bet you next year he'll have a bullet, and we'll see a bullet in spring training.
I mean, when Zimmerman first came on the scene, he was the closest thing to Scott Rowland that we'd seen in a long time. Rowland has been the state-of-the-art third baseman for his generation.
Yeah, state-of-the-art, and Rowland, is such a big man and had such great range.
I think Rowland was in his prime was the best third baseman of this generation playing right now.
2-2 to Ankiel. Runner goes, and it's hit toward the gap in left center field, and that's going to get between them into the wall. Desmond can waltz on in. Ankiel pulls in at second with an RBI double, and it cuts the Met lead to 2-1. So Ankiel, after saving a run, drives in a run.
Well, Ankiel continues to feast on Met pitching. That's ball's on the outside corner, but it's up, belt high, and he goes right with it. And you'll see a little hesitation by Espinosa, then he realizes it's in the gap. And he can just, as Gary said, waltz home.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So now it's 2-1 New York, and here's Ryan Zimmerman, who's grounded to short and struck out 0 for 2. And a fastball strike.
Well, see the IOTV pitch differential. The ball is more outside, but like Keith said, waist high.
So it affects the movement. Like we said, when the ball is up, when you want it to sink, it stays flat.
as that pitch did.
Zimmerman strokes one out to right. It felt.
You know, I know Ankiel came to being an everyday player late, of course, with his troubles on the mound. But if he could ever, you know, stop being kind of home run happy, hit that ball the way he hit it there, what a valuable player he'd be. I mean, I'm looking at his numbers, 246. He doesn't look like a 246 hitter when he plays against the Mets.
G ahead on Zimmerman, 0-2. Can't get him to chase upstairs. Well, G was given a 2-0 lead. Didn't get the good defensive help on Desmond's ball that fell for a hit. And then Ankiel cashing that run. Now the tying run at second base. Mike Morse on deck.
Oh-2, fastball up, fastball in. Should set up the changeup away.
Bounce to short. Reyes comes in to get it, and the quick toss to get Zimmerman for the second out as Ankiel holds the bag at second. Is that a little cutter from G?
Yeah, I think that was a cutter. 86 miles an hour. Takes the changeup out of play. See how it comes out of his hand. Yeah, that's just a little cutter. Good pitch after 2 balls up and inside.
It's a pitch he didn't even have at the beginning of the year.
Well, he warmed up with it and felt good and said, I'll bring it into the game.
Because remember, he was throwing his slider early in the season and it was doing nothing for him, and he finally ditched it. So here's Morris's line to right, bounce to second, 0-2. In that increasingly hot National League wild card race, the Cardinals tonight are leading the Pirates 4-2 in the 6th. And the Braves are trailing again 1-0 to Florida. That game's in the 6th inning after the Marlins beat them in 12 innings last night.
Who's pitching for the Braves? Minor?
Braves can't score. There's scuffling.
So they've lost 9 of 12 now, and that includes sweeping a doubleheader here. Yeah, Minor's pitching against Brad Hand in that game in Atlanta, which is now gone to the 6th. Race in the National League wild card. Giants closer in the wild card race than they are in the West now. 8.5 behind Arizona. The Phillies, by the way, can clinch a playoff berth tonight. If they win or the Cardinals lose, the Phillies are in. Then their magic number for clinching the National League East is 5. So the Phillies will almost undoubtedly finish the year with the best record in baseball. They're 94-50 right now. Playing in Houston tonight. 2-1 to Morris with 2 out. And he won't go for that pitch off the plate. 3-1. In that American League wild card race, also getting tighter by the day, Tampa Bay 3 games behind the Red Sox, leading 2-1 in Baltimore in the 7th. And Boston's gone back and forth with Toronto. The Red Sox now up 6-5 in the 5th at Fenway. Deep to center. Pagan gets turned around. It's over his head and up against the wall. That'll tie the game as Ankiel comes in. Morris with a long double, and it's a 2-2 game.
How many times do you have pitchers cruising and then one pitcher blinks, the other pitcher goes out there in the other half of the inning and gives it up right back?
This is a 3-1 pitch with the runner in scoring position, by the way.
Cutter.
It's not a bad pitch.
And he was diving.
He was diving and knew it was coming. Guessing outer half, got it.
Pagan, a long way to run.
So speaking of trading places, Ankiel and Morris do, and now it's 2-2. Here's Worth, whose error gave the Mets their second run. Now with a chance to give the Nats the lead with a base hit.
61 extra base hits for Mr. Morse. Pretty impressive.
Quite a year for a guy who was a part-time player before this season. There is that American League wild card we mentioned. Rays and Red Sox both leading right now.
Wow. That is tightened up.
They've got 4 games coming up this weekend, head-to-head at Fenway, where the Rays play very well. So we went from having no races to having a few that could get very interesting. I'm telling you, that Charlestown Bridge, they had to just close the pedestrian lane.
That's right.
Red Sox got home runs from Ellsbury and Pedroia to go back on top in that game. Boy, Ellsbury's having an amazing year. That's 27 home runs, in addition to all the other things he does for that team.
Can you talk to your dad about the Red Sox? I'm sure he's been watching.
He told me about 2 weeks ago. He said, you know what? I don't know if they have enough pitching to close it out. That's 2 weeks ago when they had the 9-game lead.
Well, Euclid just announced that he's going to put off surgery. He's going to try and play. But with Beckett out and Buchholz out, Daisuke out, you're going to be right about their pitching. I mean, Beckett has the sprained ankle. Are they going to get him back before the end of the season, do you think?
They're not sure. I mean, that's
Pedro Beato up in the Mets bullpen.
He has such a violent push off Beckett to deliver his pitches. You know, any kind of leg injury is going to affect him more than some.
I don't know, though. There's precedent for Boston pitchers pitching in big games with ankle injuries.
That's right. There you go.
I mean, maybe Schilling can lend him his sock. 3-2 now to Worth. Not coming easily for G here in the 6th. This will be his 30th pitch of the inning. 3-2 to Worth, and he walked him, and the inning continues. First walk of the night issued by Dylan G. And that'll send Terry Collins out to the mound, and G might be done at this point. With Danny Espinosa coming up, the Nats have 2 runs home in the inning to tie the game. Let's see, is he going to take the ball or just deliver a talking to?
He's going to have he's going to have a chat.
Boy, I like seeing that. That is good. Went out there, delivered his peace of mind, a little fist bump to the chest, and let's go, son. Get an out.
What kind of words might come out of a manager's mouth in that kind of meeting?
He'll come out and say, hey, listen, how do you feel? You all right? I mean, I'm going to trust this game to you. I think you can get out of this inning. Can you get out of it? Yeah, of course, Skip. All right, let's go. It's testing your mettle right here. That's what it is.
So G will take on Espinosa, who singled to center his last time up. It's been a rough stretch for Dylan after a great start to his season. A very uneven second half. Got off to a great start tonight, allowed just 1 base runner over the first 4 innings, but it has been very difficult since. You go back to June the 10th, and Dylan G, since June the 10th, in 15 starts, is a 5.44 ERA. Same pitcher who began the year 7-0.
Well, I think as we've watched, and this is only a natural thing that would happen. You see the numbers bear out what Gary was just talking about. It's a natural thing to happen to a young pitcher is that he's got around the league. He's faced these nationals many times, and that good changeup that was swung over and missed early in the season, they're just taking it. And, you know, I don't know if he's tipping it off or they're just seeing it much better or just probably just experience of facing Dylan.
Swing and a miss, 1-2 to Espinosa, much the way Mike Pelfrey was so successful early last year with that split change, and then all of a sudden nobody would swing at it.
Yeah, they stopped swinging at it. That's a mistake pitch there. Cutter's supposed to be in and kind of rode up in the strike zone.
You can pitch Espinosa upstairs. He's got a big uppercut. He's got 19 home runs, and that's why he's hitting 220.
He's an all or nothing guy.
Chris Marrero would be next. G about to throw his 35th pitch of this inning. Espinosa stepping out on. Danny Espinosa, 19 home runs, just one shy of the franchise rookie record. Up and in, and a full count.
Well, I think what Dylan's going to have to do when he comes to spring training next year, he's going to have to be absolutely behind fastball command, because that'll set up everything else. He's going to have to get a little dipsy doodle curveball that he can throw over for strikes to start in that bat. Remember, they had a big at bat against Bernardino in the Nationals early this year. 3-2 curveball.
Morrison Worth gets set to run, and it's outside, ball 4. So after Collins went out and allowed G to stay in for one more batter, he walks Espinosa, and that's going to be all for Dylan G. Back-to-back walks to end G's night. And he'll take his exit after 5 2/3. Came into the inning with the lead. Now it's a tie game, and he'll leave with the bases loaded. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Pedro Beato will begin the long walk in. We'll be right back. And Terry Collins debriefing. What are you going to say?
I think for Terry, he's been trying to tell G all season, hasn't he? You have to use all your pitches. That's the only way you're going to be successful. And I think what happens to G, Dylan, and it happens to a lot of young pitchers, you get under the gun and you start to become, I'm going to throw it harder. I'm going to throw fastballs in and out.
Pedro Beato comes in, throws a first pitch breaking ball for a strike to Marrero.
I'll see Beato's numbers this year. Mostly up, some down. Control problems with those 26 walks, but Beato has a future in this game.
Did very well his last outing against the Cubs on Sunday night, ending in a third, no runs, one hit, and this one's laced foul.
That's a hanger right there.
Luckily, Marrero a little quick, huh, Keith?
Yep.
Marrero singled to right his last time up.
Oh boy, just he's way off the plate.
Right at the league average, stranding inherited runners. He's got 3 of them out there here. Morse, Worth, and Espinosa. And Marrero lifts one out to right. Duda makes the catch. Side retired. The Nationals rally to tie it after a ball fell in front of Duda for a hit. Ankiel delivers a double to drive in the first run, and Force brings Ankiel home with the second. 2-2 in the middle of the 6th. .30 home runs in a season for the Expos. But he wasn't a former Met when he did it, right? He was a Met at one point.
Yeah.
And he was the first player to hit 30 home runs for the Expos.
That's right.
We dealt with this the last time we had one of these questions.
You can't be a former when you, well, whatever.
Phraseology. Anyway, Doug Slayton, the lefty, who missed most of the year with an elbow injury, is in to pitch for the Nats.
Yeah, just came off the disabled list on the 1st of September. 49 games he appeared in for the Nationals last year. He's usually a one-and-done kind of guy. Comes in and gets, well, in this case, it'll be the switch hitter he's pitching against, Angel Pagan.
Pagan, then the left-hand hitter, Willie Harris. Nick Evans do a third of the inning. At this time of year, with so many relief pitchers, especially the Nats, have their bullpen so crowded, you can just keep throwing guys in there. Really rather puzzled Dylan G about his night. Pagan is 1 for 2, single to left, took a call third strike against Chen Ming Wang, who's now off the hook. Wang threw 72 pitches over 5 innings, allowed 2 runs, 9 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, and a wild pitch. 2 balls and no strikes to Pagan. Doug Slayton, 31 years old, from Venice, California.
Nice.
Does that mean he grew up roller skating, weightlifting, or playing basketball on the beach?
Listening to the Doors.
L.A. woman. And he misses inside to Pagan, 3-1. Angel's hitting about the same lefty and righty this year, batting average wise, but all of his home runs have come as a left-hand batter. Now Angel with a 3-1 advantage, and he takes ball 4. So the Mets have the leadoff man on to the bottom of the 6th.
bunt here?
It's a little early in the game, isn't it?
I think. Zimmerman playing in the corner, not quite sure. Over there at third base.
Well, Harris in his limited chances has hit lefties pretty well this year. And he has a hit in his only career at bat against Slayton. And he's up there ready to hack as he takes the breaking ball for a strike. And now he's bunting. So he took a strike. Has to bunt on the second pitch.
Well, he was given a strike by his manager. You've got one pitch to hit, and once you don't put it in play, I'm going to put the bunt on. And it was interesting to watch Willie because he got, after he took the first pitch for a strike, he got in the box, and Chip yelled at him. He stepped out of the box, which is almost an automatic that they have put something on. Now you can take it off again. The reason I say that as a pitcher, you might think to yourself, boy, he's bunting now. He's given one strike. I'm going to pop a fastball in there if he's bunting. Well, he could take advantage of it.
If you're a hitter and you're up with a man on first base, are you always looking to the third base coach?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Every pitch.
No matter who you are.
No matter who.
Even if you're the big slugger in the middle of the lineup.
Yes.
You always give a courtesy look at least.
You never know. Now, I might get a hit and run. You know, I had to look. I want to know if someone was stealing. I got a steal sign. Oh, he almost stepped on home plate, did he not?
Stepped behind it.
Yes, he did.
Step on the plate, you're out.
He's so deep in the box. Watch his left foot.
I mean, technically stepping behind the plate, you're out of the batter's box.
Wow.
So now it's 2-2 to Willie. And we'll see whether the bunt stays on. You'd think not. Two from Slayton inside, and Harris is hit.
Slayton, that'd give me a hook right there if I was a skipper. That's it.
Well, he got his two hitters, and they didn't retire either one of them. A walk to Pagan. He hits Harris with a pitch. And now the Mets have two men on. Nick Evans coming up. And Davey Johnson will call for a right-hander. So the Mets looking to regain the lead here in the sixth after the first two men on. We'll be right back. to the Minute Sports News and original video. Like SNY on Facebook today. Greg Stammen, who spent most of this year in the minor leagues, comes on to pitch for the Nats.
Well, the last couple of seasons he started out, his first appearance, 38 appearances were starts for the Nationals, and his next 17 were relief appearances. His ERA is about 5 as a reliever, but he had a good AAA. As Slayton looks on, interested observer, 10 wins in AAA and 24 starts for Stammen.
I would say if you begin your career as a starter, then become a major league reliever, then you go to the minor leagues, your career is not going in the right direction.
Yes.
Pagan and Harris, the base runners with nobody out. Nick Evans, the batter. Nick has grounded into a double play and struck out tonight, 0 for 2. And a good breaking ball to start him off. 0-1. Now Brian McCann just did a 3-run homer for Atlanta off Brad Hand, and the Braves have gone up 3-1 on the Marlins in the 6th. Braves need somebody to hit. Evans trying to bunt and missed the attempt, and it's 0-2. Well, Harris couldn't get a bunt down, then got drilled by a pitch. Now Evans can't get the bunt down. Josh Tolle on deck.
It's interesting, right? Players that are usually middle of the plate hitters in AA or AAA, they come up and bat 6th or 7th, and difficult for them to bunt.
Nice stop by Ramos, 1-2. Dale Thayer is up in the Mets bullpen.
Last time Thayer was up, we had a Fu Manchu. If I recall.
Things have changed. By the way, Evans does not have a sacrifice bunt in his major league career. Here's the 1-2 from Stammen, and he gets him. First out of the inning as Stammen comes in to strike out Nick Evans.
Well, he gets ahead, Ron, and then sees if he's going to pitch.
Pretty good hard slider. I remember Stammen having more of a big breaking ball and a sinker.
So now Josh Tolle will step in. Tolle doubled to left center in the 5th and was thrown out at the plate on that terrific throw by Ankiel. And scored twice in the 5th, threatening here in the 6th. First and second and 1 out. And there's the curveball from Stammen, 0-1.
That's a pretty good one. I think I'd have to take that one too.
They are getting ready in the bullpen. Mike Baxter has come out on deck to bat for Pedro Beato. Another one out of the dirt. 1-1. There's Baxter. We had a pinch hit double in the game on Sunday night against the Cubs. Well, you mentioned all the scouts in attendance here tonight, Ronnie.
Yeah.
And they are everywhere. And the curveball misses to Tolle. 2 balls and a strike.
There was a day you could tell the scouts just from the Sands-About slacks and the golf shirts. Not anymore.
Well, the radar guns.
Yeah, that's right.
Nobody's got radar guns.
Who started the radar gun? The guy in L.A. started with the Dodgers with that white hat.
Like Brito.
Yep.
Good sinker by Stammen, and it's 2-2.
You know what Mike Guido's biggest strength was?
San Fernando.
San Fernando. That'll keep you around for a while.
That enhanced a lot of people's careers.
That's right.
Tommy's, Jaime Jarrín.
Tendons.
Yeah, that's it. Step out.
2-2 to Tolle. And that's low. Ball 3. Stammen just pegging that fastball.
You don't see Major League pitchers usually bounce that fastball.
4 runs for the Red Sox in the 6th, including Dustin Pedroia's second home run of the game. And more good news for the Red Sox. Baltimore has tied up Tampa Bay 2-2. That game's now going to the 8th. Three and 2 with 1 out. Thayer's all ready to go. Runner's not going, and Tolle hits a slow ground ball. In comes Desmond, and that's the second out as the runners advance to second and third. So now 2 in scoring position with 2 out, and Mike Baxter will be the pinch hitter.
Well, the Mets can really use a nice little 2-out, 2 RBI single.
Baxter doubled down the left field line in the 5th inning on Sunday night in a pinch hitting at bat. That was the game the Mets used 26 players to set a club record. Baxter in his second tour of duty with the Mets after they claimed him on waivers from San Diego this summer. And Mike from Whitestone takes low and inside for ball 1. Jose Reyes already 2 hits tonight to reclaim the National League batting lead, waiting on deck. And Baxter pops it up. Who's going to get it? Desmond taking charge. Side retired. A walk, a hit by pitch, but Stammen comes in to get 3 out to keep the game tied as we go to the 7th. A question. We asked which Met, one-time Met, was the first player to hit 30 home runs in a season for the Expos. Was it Rusty?
Ellis, yes.
There you go. Daniel Joseph Staub in the second year of the Expos franchise. Montreal Expos came into being in 1969 as Del Thayer takes over the pitching for the Mets.
Well, Thayer is the second time he's been with the ball club. Came up with them at the end of May into June. Pitched in 54 games for the Bisons this year.
He was one of the 9 pitchers, in fact the last of the 9 pitchers to work in Sunday night's game. Got a couple of outs. Wilson Ramos 0 for 2 tonight. That's an upset right there. 5 straight multiple hit games against the Mets. It'll be Ramos, then the pitcher's spot is due up. And Stammen is out on deck to bat for himself.
Probably if it's a base hit and bunt him over.
Tim Burnack, the left-hander, Bobby Parnell, the right-hander, John Davis, the bullpen coach, up in the Mets bullpen.
Debo, he cut off the goatee, didn't he not?
That had been a bit of a trademark. There's got to be a story there somewhere. Breaking ball by Thayer, who didn't show much of a breaking ball the first time around when he was up with the Mets.
Well, I don't know how many pitches in a row when he first came up, but it was, I think, north of 20 where he came in, and mostly fastballs.
Mentioned the Expos began play in the National League in 1969. Their first ever game was at Shea Stadium, and it was a wild beginning. Montreal won the game 11-10.
Wow.
Coco LeBoy hit a home run.
Third baseman.
The pitcher Dan McGinn hit a home run.
I played with Dan McGinn. He was a lunatic. Played with him in Tulsa. He was trying to get back in the big leagues. He was, for a 19-year-old kid, that was an eye-opener.
You had a few eye openers, didn't you?
That's when AAA had all the guys that were 28, 30.
That's right.
Trying to get back in the big leagues,
Swing and a miss, and Ramos down on strikes. So Thayer fans the first man to face him.
Climb the ladder. By Ramos.
Now Craig Stammen, not a bad hitting pitcher, will get to bat for himself. Hit 237 last year with the Nats, 217 lifetime, his first plate appearance of this season. And he shoots one just past Evans for a base hit. So a good call by Davy Johnson, leaving Stammen at the bat, and he's hitting 1,000 for the year.
Little cut and slash right out of the reach of Nick. Nice effort.
So here's Desmond with 1 out and 1 on. Hit a fly ball that fell in front of Duda for a hit in the 6th and came to score the first Nationals run. The Expos not only played their first ever game at Shea Stadium, they played their last ever game at Shea Stadium. Another one for Duda. This one will have to play on a hop. Stammen gets to second just ahead of the throw. So it's back-to-back hits for the Nationals to start the 7th with 1 out in the 7th. And Rick Ankiel will come back. Terry Collins heads out to the mound. He's got the lefty ready in the bullpen.
Didn't one of the current Mets hit a home run in that ball game?
Well, that was Val Pascucci. Started for the Expos that day, got 3 hits, including a home run. As they wave goodbye to Noah Zamor. 2-2 in the 7th. We'll be right back. They lost in come-from-behind fashion last night. Tonight, Andrew McCutcheon with a 2-run homer in the 7th to tie it. They go to the bottom of the 8th, tied at 4. The Rays and Orioles tied 2-2 with Tampa Bay trying to close some more ground on the Red Sox, who lead Toronto 10-5. Dustin Pedroia having the big night. Here 2-2 in the bottom of the 7th, and Tim Burdick in to face Rick Ankiel.
Well, Burdick has been outstanding in the second half. Only a 1.59 ERA, and he's done his job against the left-handed hitters with that .213 number.
Ankiel with a long double to left center his last time up to drive in the first Washington run. Mets scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th. Nats came right back with 2 in the top of the 6th against Dylan G. Bobby Parnell in the Mets bullpen. Double play ball right at Reyes. Takes it himself and does not make the throw. Held onto the ball. Did he think that he didn't have a shot at Ankiel?
I think he should throw it. And Ankiel was hustling down the line. Let's see. Should he have just given the feed to Tejada? That might have been the way to go.
So it goes to a 6 unassisted force play, taking out Desmond. Ankiel reaches, so Burdick throws 1 pitch. His night is over, and Parnell will come in to face Ryan Zimmerman. 2-2 in the top of the 7th. We'll be right back. Bobby Parnell, first time out since a blown save on Saturday.
Yeah, 3 days ago. See the numbers for Bobby: 5 saves, 10 opportunities, and high numbers. Right-handed hitters almost hitting 300.
Zimmerman is 0 for 3 tonight. 2 ground balls and a strikeout. First and third and 2 out.
Zimmerman likes to go to right field in these situations.
They just pulled Duda in about 5-6 steps. Danger.
Will Robinson toward the hole, base hit, and the Nats take the lead. Stammen comes in to score. An RBI single for Ryan Zimmerman. It's 46th run batted in. 3-2 Washington. So Parnell throws 2 pitches, gives up a run scoring hit.
Well, so much for going to right field. Gets a fastball in and just turns on it.
That run is charged to Del Thayer. He's now on the hook in this game. And I'll tell you what, for a guy who throws as hard as Bobby Parnell does, he gives up a lot of solid contact. Here's Michael Morris, 1 for 3, a long double in the 6th inning to drive in a run.
Interesting, Parnell going with the 2-seamer. All the fastballs have been 2-seamers so far. First pitch for a ball to Zimmerman. And the base hit on the ground, and that one to Morse.
Todd Coffey and Atahualpa Severino are up in the bullpen. Right at Duda, and he picks it off to retire the side. Nats regain the lead on Zimmerman's 2-out hit. Now Jose Reyes, who has regained the lead in the batting race tonight, already 2 hits, will lead off for the Mets in the bottom of the 7th, 3-2 Washington. Proud to be the furniture store of the New York Mets. And by Capital One Bank's no closing fee refinance. What's in your wallet? It is Star Wars night, and all manner of Star Wars characters making their way onto the field for the 7th inning stretch. Jose Reyes leads off in the home 7th inning with the Mets down a run. Craig Stammen, who came in to get 3 outs in the 6th, now pitcher of record on the long side. And he throws the breaking ball down to Reyes. Ryan Braun 0 for 2 tonight, so he has slipped to 329. Reyes with his 2 for 3 up to 331. Reyes began the day a point behind Braun. So those numbers are intertwining on a graph, like the Dow Jones. 2 balls and a strike to Jose. Atahualpa Severino, the left-hander. Todd Coffey, the right-hander. Jim Lett, the bullpen coach, up in the Washington bullpen. And now Stammen behind on Reyes, 3-1 with Tejada and Duda to follow. Well, Doug Slayton walked the leadoff batter in the 6th inning. Now Stammen behind the leadoff batter Reyes, 3-1 to start the 7th. And that's ball 4, and so for the 2nd straight inning, the Mets draw a leadoff walk. Mets lead the league in drawing walks. 506 coming into the night, and 2 more tonight. So now Tejada, we'll see how the Mets operate with him, see if he'll try and bunt the tying run over.
In past games, you might think that Reyes would be a threat to steal, but that has not been the case in a very long time.
Well, we mentioned it earlier in the game. Reyes has gone 13 consecutive games without even attempting a stolen base. It matches the longest streak of his career, and that bunt is picked out of the air by Marrero. So failure to bunt tonight on all sides for the Mets. G couldn't get a bunt down to the 5th. Harris couldn't get a bunt down in the 6th, and now Tejada can't get a bunt down in the 7th.
Evans had one shot at it also.
Does Reyes have enough plate appearances, Gary?
Yes.
So, okay.
That's not an issue.
He's good to go.
Well, Davy Johnson's on his way to the mound. He's got the lefty Severino ready for Duda. We've got another pitching change. 3-2 Washington in the 7th. We're coming on back.
7th game of the World Series.
His 3rd big league appearance.
That is something from first name.
Well, his first appearance against the Dodgers, he had a strikeout and his only out of the game. Left-handers, nothing.
Well, R.A. Dickey, big Star Wars fan. Immortalized in Star Wars regalia. Lucas Duda's had a big night at the plate, 3 for 3, including the RBI single that gave the Mets the lead in the 5th. Mets were up 2-0. They're now down 3-2. Reyes the tying run at first with 1 out. And Severino ready to deal to Duda. And he pops it up. Should stay in play. Down comes Marrero to help. 2 out. So Severino throws 1 pitch, gets Duda. Now let's see if they bring in a right-hander to face David Wright. And here comes Davy Johnson. It's September baseball. Lots of arms available in the pen. Both managers are taking advantage. Todd Coffey will be the 10th pitcher to work in this game. And hey, it's only the 7th inning. 3-2 Washington. We'll be right back. bullpen and breathing hard as he gets set to face David Wright.
His 100-yard dash, that is his staple. But I'll tell you, Todd Coffey might not think that, you know, the body of a pitcher. He is a workhorse. He gets the job done. He's got a good fastball, 92 plus, and a hard slider.
Last night, Coffey came in and struck out Jason Bay in a big spot. Now he comes in to face Wright with the tying run at first and 2 out. David is 0 for 3 tonight, 1 for 6 in this series. By the way, when Coffey struck out Bay last night, it helped the Nationals snap Bay's 10-game hitting streak. Also last night, Reyes had a 14-game hitting streak end as Sean Burnett is up. And Turner had an 11-game hitting streak end. It's the first time in Mets history that they've had 3 double-digit hitting streaks end in the same game.
Wow.
Boy, Espinosa's given Wright that hole between first and second.
Wright pulling off the slider. It's 1-1.
With all these pitching changes, I haven't seen Davey make pitching changes like this since '85, and it took 19 innings. I mean, geez.
The game has changed. Nationals outfield playing deep and out of sight, trying to cut down on the double. I mean, they are way back there. Of course, as deep as they're playing, Reyes might score on a single.
Yeah, right.
Sage is not in running mode these days. And goes back in standing, almost paid for it.
You know, Todd Coffey's one of those guys as he makes a quick move here. Let's see if Marrero gets it on him. Boy, that was bang bang.
Might have had him. Dan Isoni, the first base umpire.
When you watch Coffey here, guys, he looks over his right shoulder at the runner on first base, not his left shoulder. Only guy I know or I've ever seen to do that. He didn't even look that time.
David's swing has gotten long again.
David with just 5 hits in his last 33 at bats. Down to 2-2, and he struck him out with a slider. So Coffey comes in and strikes out Wright, and strands Reyes at first base. We head for the 8th. Nats won 3-2 last night, up 3-2 tonight. With a constant flow of Jets news and opinion, plus fan discussions, player profiles, and exclusive video on Jets blog presented by Aflac, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. Sean Burnett, the lefty, Henry Rodriguez, the right-hander, in the constantly changing bullpen flow in this game. Bobby Parnell misses low and inside to Jason Worth as we start the 8th inning. Worth is 1 for 2 and a walk. Parnell came into the 7th, gave up the go-ahead hit to Ryan Zimmerman, and another shot to Michael Morris that Duda caught. Ronnie, where is Bobby Parnell at right now? I mean, they gave him a chance to close. They took the job away from him. He might get some more chances. They're thinking about next year. What is going through his mind at this point?
Well, I think that's the problem, Gary, is that he is in between. He doesn't know. When I watch him, he's throwing sinkers today and sliders. I'll watch him at next appearance. It'll be 4-seamers and split fingers. I think that, you know, he hasn't kind of defined himself to himself. What is the best way for him to get hitters out? And I also think, you know, the one game that he blew about a week, 10 days ago, where right after the game it was, you know, they're going to shut him down, not shut him down, but Manny Acosta was going to be the guy to get to close the game the next day. Good pitch there. It was almost like an indictment. It was, you know, right now you can't make pitches appropriately in the 9th inning, because, you know, I think to most managers there's a difference certainly between the 8th and 9th inning.
Strike 3 called. Worth is out on strikes.
Well, that's a good call for Bobby there. C.B. Buckner's been calling that down all day, but gives it to him.
Too close to take.
Yeah, I agree. Right on the corner.
It's 146 times Worth has struck out this year.
E.J. Worth's got 56 RBI with 19 home runs. That means how many RBIs did he have? Get that wrong. It's, if you do the math, you figure if he hit all solo shots, he'd have only 36 RBI if you take away the 19 home runs. I mean, that's just very unproductive.
Well, last year, too, for most of the year with the Phillies, he was hitting well under 200 with runners in scoring position. He's a little better this year, but, you know, when you spend that kind of money on a hitter, you certainly expect better production than that.
Boy.
Espinosa 1 for 2 and a walk tonight. Each team with 9 hits. Mets led 2-0 in this game. Dylan G was marvelous for the first 4 innings. Got into a little trouble in the 5th and got out of it. But then in the 6th, the roof caved in. Dylan alive, just 2 runs on 6 hits over 5 2/3. But it was a very disappointing finish to his game after such a good beginning. Beato came in to get an out. Thayer gave up a couple of hits, and then Parnell gave up the go-ahead hit. In between, Burdick threw 1 pitch and got an out. So each team has used 5 pitchers in this game. Well, the Cardinals have just scored 2 in the top of the 9th to go in front of the Pirates 6-4. 2-2 now to Espinosa. Meanwhile, the Braves, who got a 3-run homer earlier from Brian McCann, got another one from Dan Uggla. Wow. 34 home runs now for Uggla, so they're up 6-1 over the Marlins in the 8th.
One of the greatest turnarounds you've seen to a season in a long time.
You know, the only one that I can even slightly compare it to was the year that Carlos Delgado had his last year with the Mets, when he got off to that miserable start the first 2.5 months and then had a wonderful second half. But even he wasn't hitting 170. Driven to right center field, and that falls for a base hit. Pagan gets it on the hop, and Espinosa has his second hit of the night. So 1 out and 1 on. Let's check in with the studio. Kevin Burkhardt has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Thanks, Kevin. Now Chris Marrero bats with 1 out and 1 on.
I was thinking, sorry, Gary, one more name. David Ortiz had a couple of slow starts to his season and turned him around in Boston.
Daniel Herrera up in the Mets bullpen. Slashes one foul. Well, we asked you the Toyota text poll question earlier about what you think the Mets' biggest need is, and well, we were talking about it. Bullpen comes in number 1, starting pitching number 2.
Well,
it's hard to argue with that.
77% on the pitching side, and you Met fans out there, and I understand there was quite a few of you that called in. We appreciate you watching. We love you, and I agree with you 100%.
Are you trying to curry favor with the fans? I mean, you don't really need to do that. They love you anyway.
It's election time.
Not for another year plus. I mean, our campaign doesn't have to go on as long as the presidential campaign. 0-2 to Marrero, who's 1 for 3 on the night. Wilson Ramos on deck. And Parnell comes up and in, and Marrero stops the swing. 1-2. Wilson Ramos waiting on deck. You saw that in that text poll as Marrero strikes out for the second out. The catching got only 12% of the vote. Cholula flamethrower. Parnell sizzling it in there at 98.
That'll burn you.
Ouch. Here's Ramos, who's had a rare unproductive night against the Mets. He's gone 0 for 3. And a broken back grounder to Reyes. He makes the flip, and that retires the side. So a good inning for Parnell. A hit and 1 left. Still a 1-run game to the bottom of the 8th. Major league start. He had a great year in the minor leagues. Not his debut. He has pitched in relief, but it will be his first major league start. And then Thursday afternoon, Chris Schwinden is going to make his second start for the Mets. And the lefty Tom Malone, who broke in with the bat against the Mets.
Yeah, there's high hopes both for Peacock and Malone in this organization.
Thorne Strasburg and Jordan Zimmerman, and you've got quite the makings of a starting staff for Washington. Sean Burnett will pitch the bottom of the 8th inning.
Crafty left-hander coming in for Davey Johnson's crew. 4 saves this season. Only 10 opportunities. 10 opportunities, but going to try to get him through the 8th. Looks like Tyler Clippard must not be available tonight, because you would think he'd be in this game.
Well, he worked 2 innings last night. Threw only 18 pitches in 2 innings, but nonetheless, it would appear they're staying away from him in this game. Well, they brought in the lefty to face Pagan and Harris the last time, and Slayton walked Pagan and hit Harris. So we'll see how this lefty, Burnett, fares against the same 2. Pagan 1 for 2 in a walk tonight. He takes a strike. 6 pitchers now for the Nats. Chen-Ming Wang started, went 5, allowed 2 runs, 9 hits. Slayton had a 4-mentioned appearance as Henry Rodriguez is up now. Greg Statman is pitcher of record on the long side for Washington. He went an inning and a third, no runs, no hits. And then Severino and Coffey each got an out in the 7th. Pagan bounces one to Zimmerman, fair ball, and he floats it over to first, 1 out. So Pagan is retired. Let's see if Harris bats, and he will. They'll leave Willie in to bat. That's plenty of right-handed bats on the bench. But they'll stick with Harris, who has a single and has been hit by a pitch tonight. The only time he was retired, he swung at a 3-0 pitch in the 2nd inning and sent Worth halfway back on the warning track in front of the Mets bullpen. Willie has 8 hits now in his last 22 at bats. This has been as good a stretch as he's had all year. The Rays lost tonight. They were beaten by the Orioles 4-2. So Boston with a chance to stretch their lead back to 4 games in the wild card race. They're up 13-5 on the Jays in the 8th. One to Harris, and he fouls it off.
I don't think anyone throws across their body more in the major leagues than Burnett. Steps to first, goes back over the plate. Nick Evans waits on deck.
Those guys bother you, Keith, as a left-hand hitter?
They're difficult. You've got to make sure you don't tilt your eyes, Gary. You got to keep your eyes, like I always said, parallel to the ground. And a guy throws cross body, he's going to be more 3/4, and your tendency is to kind of tilt with him a little bit and get your eyes in a kind of a 45-degree angle. When you do that, you're dead. So you really have to stay more upright with your waist against guys like this. So was that clear?
Yeah, back eye lower than front eye. Okay.
Ankiel comes in to grab Harris's fly ball, 2 out.
At least for me.
So you say your head tilts because you're waiting for that ball
across the body, and you're looking, you're looking over more than you normally look on the second base side of the mound. He's throwing more over there, and they have a tendency to get in the habit of just your head tilts. And once your head tilts, you are finished. So you really got to focus on keeping your eyes level to the ground. And I used to do that by just being a little more upright.
Nick Evans takes a strike. Tough night for Evans at the plate. 0 for 3, a double play and 2 strikeouts.
And that goes for guys that throw sidearm or submarine too.
Josh Tolley on deck. Mets have 9 hits tonight. They got both their runs in the 5th, but the play of the night was the Rick Ankiel throw to get Tolley at the plate, as Polino now is on deck to bat for Tolley. Little tapper back to Burnett, and so he dominates the Mets in the 8th inning. 1, 2, 3. On to the 9th we go. Nats 3, Mets 2. Porch. Here's Geico Sports Night, your nightly source for all things New York sports. Tonight, one-on-one with Justin Tuck. Jets Pats, they're not playing this weekend. And the AL wildcard race not quite as hot tonight with Tampa Bay losing. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame only on SNY. Bobby Parnell, who got an out in the 7th and 3 outs in the 8th, stays on to pitch the 9th. And Steve Lombardozzi, who picked up his first big league hit, a game winner last night, will be the pinch hitter. Lombardozzi, whose dad was an infielder with the Twins back in the late 80s, didn't know that his mom and dad had come to the game here last night. And after the game, it's a nice looking bubble. After the game, father and son locked in embrace, and Steve Lombardozzi Sr. was so choked up after seeing his son's first big league hit, he could not speak a word.
Wow. Interesting note on that. Senior got his first hit in the major leagues in his 6th game, just like his son.
Wow. Lombardozzi hooks one deep down the line, but foul off the Pepsi porch. Ryota Igarashi up in the Mets bullpen. Well, Parnell has gone as long as 2 innings this season on 4 different occasions. But whether he goes, 2 innings tonight or not, he will have pitched, sat down, and come back twice in this game, which is unusual for a guy who pitches late in game.
I think they're just trying to use. They've tried everything, so maybe use some length in the game to see if he can find his feel.
Of course, they experimented with Parnell as a starting pitcher last year as Lombardozzi is down on strikes. Third strikeout for Parnell. So 1 out and nobody on. Let's check in with the studio, see what's coming up on Lincoln Postgame Live. Kevin Burkhardt and Bobby Ojeda. All right, Kevin. Now Parnell takes on Ian Desmond, who's 2 for 4 on the night. And he pops one foul.
By the way, good fastball to strike out Lombardozzi upstairs, Ronnie. That's when you throw hard like that, you're more effective upstairs in the strike zone.
Upstairs, and I think you're right, Keith. He also pitching in. There's got to be a period of time where when Bobby Parnell steps on the mound, there's got to be some intimidation on the hitter, and we have not seen that yet.
So 100 miles an hour by itself is not intimidating unless there's fear of that pitch coming inside.
Not against big league hitters. I mean, look at those half swings. That is what you want to see from the hitter. What happens with big league hitters is that if you throw whatever you throw, if they know it's coming, they'll just turn it up a notch. They can do it. Good hitters can do it. How about that?
Two-1 to Desmond. There's a strike at the knees. 2-2. Jason Worth's old team is trailing in Houston tonight, but Hunter Pence back in Houston as a home run. How do you think that was created? He was beloved in that city. Reyes has the ground ball, throws out Desmond, 2 out. So Parnell's worked 2 innings in relief, and that's all. They'll bring in the lefty now to face Rick Ankiel. So Terry Collins got what he wanted out of Parnell, and now I'll turn it over to Daniel Herrera to try and get Ankiel to finish off the inning. 6th pitcher of the night on the way in for the Mets. 3-2 Washington. We'll be right back. Rick Ankiel out.
Well, Herrera's been great with the Mets since coming over for, well, he's that player to be named later in the Francisco Rodriguez trade. 6 innings, 6 shutout innings with 8 appearances with the Mets.
Last night he got Ankiel to ground out, the only batter he faced, and he faces Ankiel again with 2 out and nobody on in the top of the 9th. Ankiel 1 for 4, drove in a run with a double in the 6th, saved a run with a great throw in the bottom of the 5th. Here's that throw.
That was the 2-run 5th by the Mets, and it could have been a 3-run 5th, but for this throw. Right on the money, nails Tolley.
Got better control from 200 feet than he had from 60. The ball to strike to Ankiel.
You know, it's one of the great stories to, you know, to lose your way as a pitcher, have the talent enough to come back and be a starter as an everyday player. But boy, I would have loved to have seen him as a pitcher to have a 10-year career.
Well, he was spectacular. I mean, he looked like he was going to be one of the great pitching stars in the game. Great fastball, great hammer curveball. The funny thing was, Ronnie, when he lost his control, he could still throw his curve for strength.
Yeah.
He just couldn't throw a fastball anywhere near the plate.
And once he couldn't throw his fastball there, he didn't want any part of that mound anymore. Did not. Can understand that.
2-2 from Herrera. A shot up the middle, and Ankiel has his second hit of the night. Looks like Keith said, his numbers may not be very good, but every time he faces the Mets, Ankiel looks like an all-star.
He just kills us. Doesn't matter what uniform he's wearing, too.
Hurt the Mets as a Cardinal, hurt him as a Brave, now as a National. Here's Ryan Zimmerman, who had the go-ahead hit against Parnell in the 7th. Parnell went 2 innings, allowed no runs, 2 hits, no walks, 3 strikeouts. So Zimmerman is 1 for 4. Ankiel at first with 2 out. Mets will have 8, 9, and 1 in the order coming up in the bottom of the 9th. So Reyes will get another turn at bat. Status quo in the National League wildcard race. Atlanta and St. Louis both won. So the Braves stay 4.5 in front.
Wow, 67-mile-an-hour Scroogey.
And the Scroogey to the inside part of the plate. Who expects that? Red Sox having a good old time.
Might see a player pitching in that game.
Bouncing ball for Reyes, and the flip to Tejada to end the inning. Mets will come up in the bottom of the 9th. Tolley in the pitcher's spot, and Reyes, Mets down by a run. by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. Today's ARC Doctor of Distinction is Edward Obedian. ARC is the region's leader in cancer radiation treatment. Log on to advancedradiationcenters.com. By Kia Motors. To learn more, visit kia.com. By AT NYN, rethink possible. By Geico. And by Verizon Fios. Switch to Fios and network ahead. To learn more, visit verizon.com/getFios. Drew Storen earned his 35th save last night. Goes for 36 tonight.
He walked his first hitter, but after that was Drew Storen. Had a strong year. Another one of those #1 picks on the roster for the Nationals. 17 walks and 66 in the third innings. Pretty impressive.
Josh Thole will lead off for the Mets in the last of the ninth. Jason Pridey out on deck to pinch hit, and then Jose Reyes. Mets lost 3-2 last night, trailing 3-2 in the ninth tonight. Tolley's 3 for 5 in his career against Storen. He's 1 for 3 tonight, a double to left center in the 5th. And Thole takes a fastball for a strike. There's Pridey on deck. 7 pitchers tonight for the Nationals. Craig Stammen, the 3rd of the 7, is pitcher of record on the long side. Nats took the lead in the 7th.
Backdoor curve, pretty good.
Mets were held to 2 runs and 3 hits last night. 2 runs and 9 hits tonight. And Thole down on strikes. Ramos throws to first to complete the putout. That is a dominating performance against the first hitter by Drew Storen.
What is that? Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. I don't know if you guys remember this closer. Not a lot of people remember him from Kansas City, Jeff Montgomery. Sure. Storen reminds me of him a lot. Good curveball, good enough gas to get by you.
How about Bobby Thigpen? Oh my gosh. He threw bullets.
He did.
Now Jason Pridey, who homered his last time up in the 11th inning Sunday night. He had not hit a home run since the first week in May. And then 4 months later hit one up in the Pepsi porch. Jose Reyes on deck.
And Storen lulls you to sleep with that little stiff left leg jutting out. And the ball gets on you quickly. He's got good control too.
He's got the good breaking ball.
Yep.
He spots his fastball. Breaking ball is always the good equalizer. If you got a good off the table hard breaking curve ball, you're gonna have success.
1-1 to Pridey. Ramos sets up away, and he hits the mitt. 1-2.
Remember when the Mets were in Washington, they were thinking of maybe including Storen in a trade.
Yep.
I mean, what were they thinking?
Well, they figured they had Clippard and maybe they could deal from strength. This guy looks like the real deal. And Pridey gets tied in a knot as he goes down on strikes. Back-to-back strikeouts for Storen to begin the last of the night. Here's your New York Community Bank save leaderboard. Storen moving up the list, trying for his 36th tonight. So now the Mets are down to their final out. Reyes tonight 2 for 3 and a walk and has regained the National League batting lead. He's at .331. Ryan Braun is 0 for 2 in their game against Colorado. He's at .329. And Jose takes low and in for ball 1. If Reyes keeps it going, Ruben Tejada would be next.
He's got to be careful with Reyes.
Hit hard, and Reyes has his 3rd hit of the night.
Three for 4 for Jose. Nicely done. All over that fastball. Ripped it.
That gets his average up to 333. So now Reyes, who has not attempted a stolen base in 13 games, is the tying run at first. 2 out. Tejada a singles hitter at the plate. He's got to try it now, right?
One would think. I mean,
unless he's just not feeling capable of it.
Gary, I don't think he's running the rest of the year. How about that?
I think it's shutdownsville.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting construct. You know, I understand wanting to stay healthy, but that's such a huge part of his game. Hit on the ground, base hit. Reyes to second. He'll turn and head for third. Tejada with his second hit of the night, and the Mets have the tying run at third and the potential winning run at first. And the Mets have shown all year, you better put a stake through their heart. Now Lucas Duda, who's had a big night at the plate, has a chance to be heroic. 3 for 4. He drove in the first Met run with a base hit in the 5th. Manny Acosta, in case there's a 10th inning getting ready. On Star Wars night, Lucas Skywalker will try and get it done.
The home run ball has been a problem for Storen all season long.
First and third and 2 out. And a breaking ball strike.
You'll get me over curve there, Ron, in the outside corner. Didn't have a lot of break, but he put it on the outside corner.
Storen's given up 8 home runs this season. Duda's 0 for 2 against him. On the inside corner, and now he's ahead 0-2.
I don't think Lucas is going to see a fastball. He might get one here as a waste, but he's going to go back to the curve to go for the out.
That slider he threw to Pridey is one that he wants to feature again.
Almost giving signals in case the Mets decide to try and run a delayed double steal to try and steal the tying run. Storen's 1 strike away. To Duda, and he struck him out. Ramos makes the toss, and the ball game is over. The Mets threatened in the 9th with back-to-back hits by Reyes and Tejada, but Storen strikes out 3, handing the Mets their 4th straight loss. The Mets are now 1-6 on the homestand, and now just 1 skinny game ahead of the Nationals in the standings as Washington wins 3-2.
20-24 now in 1-run decisions, and 25-31 after the All-Star break, as the Mets have been able to get the hits. They've been able to get on base. They have not been able to drive each other in.
And a perfect bullpen for the Nationals. Wang gave up all the 9 hits in the first 5 innings of this ball game, and Storen came in to finish, but they gave up 2 hits. That was it. So they dropped 2 in a row here.
So the Mets have dropped a passel of 1-run games on this homestand. They fall 3-2 today to fall 6 games under 500. More coming up from Citi Field in just a moment.